This is the Grapple of Your Eye podcast, episode 8, Ian Mongoose Jones. Hello, our special guest today is Ian Mongoose Jones. He is with us live and he's going to be discussing his experiences in the grappling world. So welcome, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome. Hello. Yes,
Okay.
hello.
So where did it all begin for you? Because it wasn't grappling to start with, was it?
No, not really. I suppose like most kids, I grew up watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Bruce Lee and Jackie Chan and then like obviously my brother as well. He was a big inspiration. So I was like, I suppose it's like out really. I was bullied like most kids. I got into weights and stuff like that from a young age, about 12 years old. And then I used to watch like Bruce Lee and Ninja Turtles. And I used to want to be a Power Ranger growing up. So yeah, I got into it like that. And I started with a guy called Peter Heath at kickboxing. In fact, I started before that with a bloke called Craig Stokes. And I had a dabble in like freestyle kickboxing. And then I went into it again with a guy called Peter Heath. And he got me into it. But he was like, that one me tasted it really. He used to beast us. I was like, I think I was about 14 years old. 14 years old, he used to get us running in bin liners and have us crying doing splits and stuff like that. When I think about it, it was something brutal torture he did to us. He used to make us like, as daft as it sounds, it'd get us doing like, it'd make us do like 300 press ups and stuff like that. And just make us do them. Obviously, it took ages to do them. And then we'd go for a run in a bin liner. Only like about 14-year old. I think I might have been just coming up to 15, and he used to have my brother in tears and stuff like that. He was older than me. And then obviously it stemmed from there. Then I got into boxing. I wanted to go pro at boxing. But then I found out that was corrupt. Especially amateur game and stuff like that. That was corrupt. So I used to box with a guy called Fred Gummerson. He's dead now. But he was some character, him, Jesus. He used to get sparring with travellers and stuff like that, and they used to lever you all the time. And I had a bit of a stint with that. So that with boxing, really. I think I had about 9 fights. I came back to it later on in life, boxing as well, like in the late 30s, and went through amateurs again and stuff like that. And then I got into Thai boxing, and that was more up my street. Because obviously with semi-contact and stuff like that and freestyle with kickboxing, I was always getting warned for like being too aggressive and stuff like that. Because I was little as well when I was doing kickboxing. I used to end up fighting. Sometimes I used to end up fighting lasses. And I can remember fighting one and something else. She had these little shitty pads on, shit me in face and bust me nose. So I dropped her and got disqualified. So it wasn't my street really, like semi-contact and like continuous. So obviously I got into Thai boxing and did fairly well with Thai boxing. Won a few British titles, represented England in World Championships and European Championships in Thailand and places like that. So I enjoyed that. But then I found MMA in May. I think it was in 2005. But I always still did my Thai boxing. I had a really good trainer called Steve Adams. He's passed away now as well. Really young, died of an heart attack. So I got into MMA. I think it was in 2005 with a guy called Andy Cooper, who I think he was first cage race champion in Yorkshire. He sort of put MMA on map for us back in early 90s. probably 98.
That is early days, isn't it? A lot of people sort of got into it a lot later than that, because like UFC was 93, wasn't it? And obviously a few things before that. Yeah, no, early
I
time.
think I started I started in 2001 because I was still Thai boxing, I can remember.
Yeah.
And then obviously I got my ass handed to me on a plate by Andy Cooper with this they were like one of them wiry build guys. He were older than us, but he were a boxer and he were taught. He just used to knock everyone out, honestly. And he was like Clint Eastwood, used to travel from town to town, knocking people out. Dorman as well. And to look at him, just looked like a skinny bloke with cauliflower ears, but he could fight him. He was my hero, him. And he got me into it. Started training with him, and I can remember the first time I got with him, I thought, oh, I'll be sound. I can remember he took me down on the floor and just strangled me. So I thought, it was just a fluke. And then I got in with another guy who called, I think it was Brian, he was called, Brian. And there were three of them, three brothers. And I can remember didn't look like much. They didn't even look like athletes. I can remember sparring with him, boxing their head off. And they were walking into punches, eating me punches, to be fair. And I thought, God, I'm doing all right here. Next thing, got took down at the floor and got neck cranked. So that was my introduction to MMA, and it made me go out and learn it then. So I stuck with Andy for quite a few years.
Yeah.
He got me some fights on Cage Warriors and things like that. That was my first fight. So my first fight was against a guy called, I don't think his name now, Sandy Geddes, I think. And he was like a paratrooper, PTI, paras, they call him the governor. And he was my first fight, and I can remember going to watch a fight, and Andy says, "Oh, you're fighting him," and it was an absolute bloodbath. He knocked shit out of another kid, and I ended up fighting him a couple of months later, and basically, I stopped him in must have been about 50 seconds, and he was ranked number 8 in Britain at the time in middleweight, so it knocked it up for me. Then after that, it was just hard fight after hard fight, so I did pretty well with MMA. My record was a bit sketchy. It was like, I think it was something like 10-9 or 9 and something like that. But
where was your grappling coming from for that? Was that with the same coach, or were you sort of going around for that a little bit more?
It was that long ago. We were learning off VHS tape, so we were just like going on and practicing on each other. But it was like we were learning off. There were a catch wrestler called Tony Cicchini, weren't there? And there was another guy called Nicholas Starks. We used to watch him. And we used to just practice on each other, but I was pretty much a stand-up guy. And then, obviously, I started slowly introducing, like, grappling into it. But I was just like a Thai boxer with a guillotine, really, to start with, through most of my career. And then it wasn't till, like, 2005, then I started with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with a guy called Paul Murphy. And I used to train with Neil White and Neil Owen. So I got up to like a blue belt level, but I couldn't wrestle. I was just like getting took down and just guillotining people. So then I started wrestling at Y Club in Manchester and Jimmy Hawthorne's gym in Bradford, and with another guy as well called Ryan Lord. And then I discovered Combat Base in Pontefract, where I became a black belt under them, Darren and Alan Curry. So they added a lot to my game, as well as Andy Cooper. And then when I got to like sort of back end of my career with MMA, I fell out of love with it because I just missed out on getting an Ultimate Fighter and things like that. I started working more on my catch. I went to a Billy Robinson seminar. I think that was about 2010, I think. So pretty late to wrestling, really, when I think about it. And I fell out of love with MMA because I fought in Jordan. In Middle East, I fought some like Russian Sambo world champion. I beat him and he soccer kicked me in the head. So I got arse on and I just fell out of love with it. So I went away then to learn like catch, and that just changed my game completely. I just wish I'd have met like Billy and Roy 10 years prior, and I think I'd have pissed through UFC. But like now I'm too old. Like I'm 45 now, so.
So what was it like when you're like you're saying what was it like learning the sort of the grappling side of it? Because like you say, you're a stand-up guy, you got your feet in your hands. That's done most of it for you, and then you're suddenly, like you say, you're learning these takedowns or these cranks or these chokes or whatever. What was it sort of? How did you find that?
I found it interesting, to be fair. So I'm one of them guys as well. I can like I think I think I'm autistic or something because I can like learn something and I can think about it all day and I just see I get like an hyper focus with something I want to learn. So like
Okay.
I've definitely got some form of autism because I like lay up all night thinking, say it could be a move, a pin, or a cradle or something like that.
Yeah.
I'll be thinking it all night, and I'll be making up new techniques and things like that. Way so like Roy could show me something, and then I'll see something, and I'll add more stuff to it, or one of my coaches could show me something. And I just come up with 10 different ways to get to it. I seem to like, so I find it really interesting. You know, it keeps my mind occupied. But sometimes it's a bit shit because I don't sleep. You know, like because I'm like thinking about it all night.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
Overthinking
pretty
it.
good.
Yeah. So, what sort of bits in particular stuck out for you? So, if you, like you say, you went to a Billy Robinson seminar, so you've gone in, what sort of things, what was it like? What was he showing? What stuck out for you that you can remember?
Really, tough for hell. It was just first time I got introduced to catch. It was just simple. Like, whereas I love Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I still do it,
Yeah.
and I think it's a great sport. But catch, it's brutal, and it's like everything you do
Yeah.
is hurt. It's simple. It's simplified. It's like Jiu-Jitsu. I think you've got it out your mind. You get a lot of geeks who learn it, don't you? Who are really intelligent. We're like really, I think really intelligent people are really
Yeah.
good at it. Whereas catch, I'm like it might be 4 steps and you can turn old. Whereas Brazilian Jiu Jitsu, it's like very long winded. It's good, but I can't seem to take it in like that. I just like simple basics,
Yeah.
you know, and that's what I like about catch. You'll kneel on someone's shin and bend his foot, and there's a shin lock there, or you twist his neck and there's a neck crank
Yeah.
there. And I suppose it suits my body type better as well, like because I'm not really. I'm built like ET. I've got 30-inch legs and I'm 15 stone, so I'm not exactly built for jiu-jitsu laying on my back. Even though I can do it,
Yeah.
I'm not built for jiu-jitsu, you know. I'm built for pulling people's necks off and stuff like that. So I'm like one of them. I like to grab people's necks and twist it until it like goes all the tap, basically. So it's a bit
Fair enough.
it's a bit better for me. You know, like I'm not saying either one's better than other, you know, but I think you've got to
Yeah.
understand catch wrestling. You've got to understand submission. You've got to understand boxing and wrestling and Thai boxing, and that's all I ever really wanted. Really, I wanted to be a complete martial artist. I didn't really want to be greatest. I know I wasn't going to be greatest at everything, but I've done well when I think about it because I've like won a title at virtually every sport I've done
Yeah.
at different weights as well, right from lightweight all the way up to super heavyweight. So I feel like I've accomplished a lot for like in martial arts. So that's all I ever wanted to be able to beat a boxer at his own game, beat a wrestler at their own game, and a jiu-jitsu guy, and so like you can compete with them on a level playing field. And then obviously now I've got a lot of people coming to me now. Like I'll get a lot of. I've had pro boxers come to me to learn how to tie up and clinch. I've had like BKB lads, world champions and things like that, coming to me to learn how to clinch. Then I've got jiu-jitsu guys coming to me to learn how to wrestle. MMA guys coming to me to learn how to wrestle. And so it's good. Like everyone's coming to me now from all over the country. I've got people coming from London to train with me and everything. So I seem to be able to piece it all together because I've got an understanding of it all now. Whereas most
You
people that
covered
have
everything. Yeah.
they're either one or other out there. They're either a wrestler or a boxer.
Yeah.
I understand all aspects of it: clinch, in close fighting, dirty boxing. So it's good. I
So
enjoy it. Find it good.
what was it like then when you suddenly so you've gone through so just going back to the catching, you've done the Billy Robinson stuff, you've then gone through, like I say, with Roy Wood as well, and then you sort of rose through the ranks there because there was a world championship there, wasn't there, in the catch wrestling as well.
Yeah,
How was that coming about? What was it like training there and building up and
yeah. Well,
becoming like a
it's weird
figurehead of
because
catch
like
at one point?
where I train, I don't really. I train in my shed, like in my back garden. So
Yeah.
basically, it's a little shitty shed that smells. You can smell dog piss on garden and dog shit on garden. So it's a bit it's a bit crappy, like, but it's
It's
not the
old school.
biggest. But I've where I live, I like living in like a rough village, so everyone's all even soft kids can fight. You know, like
Yeah.
they're all there's even soft kids can fight. I always say that even women can fight around here. It's shit. But what it is, there's no really. wrestling in my area. So obviously I've had to travel and learn it. And I've come
Yeah,
back, and you get a lot of rugby lads around here and stuff like that, all rough kids. So all the lads that I've taught are just really rough and rugged lads. So when I have rounds with them, they don't quit, and they're just rough and fit and
yeah,
strong. Whereas you go to a jiu-jitsu gym, they're really technical and high level. So when they put a technique on you, it don't really hurt. It does hurt, but what I'm saying is it's really effortless. It's like water, it flows.
yeah.
Whereas in my shed, everyone's like banging you with the heads, they're bending your fingers back, they're kneeling on your fingers in eyes. And because I work on doors and stuff like that, I sort of keep it that way, really rough and rugged, because I think it tests your metal that way. Do you know, like makes it a bit more, rather than do it as a sport, more like realism. Do you know, like
Well,
I
it's
like it where,
character building as well, isn't it? It's the
yeah,
character building
character
aspect
building.
of it. Yeah,
I like it rough because it makes you rough, and a fight's dirty, isn't it? It's like you got it's like what Master Sken used to say, that Thai boxing. So you got two types of fighter. You've got pretty like a flower, or you've got ugly like a brick. Yeah. So I just think I want to be like a brick. I look like a brick anyway. I've got a blockhead and dodgy ears. So I just think you may as well be rough, ain't you, and like know how to fight. So
but yeah,
like I suppose if I went to most like I keep going back to jiu-jitsu, but like where I train, they're
that's
all
right.
tough kids at jiu-jitsu. It's pretty old school jiu-jitsu, but a lot of gyms they won't allow like neck cranking and leg locks and kneeling on shins and face riding and digging your
Mm.
elbows in. But I allow it all, and I just think you're battle tested that way, aren't you? You've earned your ears, you've earned
Oh
your
yeah,
medals and stuff
100%.
like that.
Yeah,
So I keep it pretty rough. Just for I don't teach it as a sport. I teach it as a lifestyle. Like if you ever get into a fight, I always think you've got to be able to fight, and
well, that's yeah. So when a lot of people that learn stuff, and then when it is a real fight, it doesn't quite pan out right because they've not learned it in a proper way. If you know what I mean, like you say, yeah,
yeah,
the character building side of it. It's I
yeah.
think
Shit, it's fun,
it's
doesn't it?
missing
That's
in a
it.
lot.
Shit, it's
It
fun.
misses in
So
fights now.
yeah, shit, it's fun. And I
Yeah,
always think, like we work indoors and stuff like that. It's been rough. I've had people pulling knives on me and stuff like that. And I just think you want to be economical, be able to like pick someone up, dump them on the head, hurt them up, bounce them off. I know it sounds horrible, bounce them off concrete, hurt them so they don't come back or snap a limb. And I know it sounds horrible, but violence is ugly, isn't it? And I think you've got to be ugly yourself and like be ugly back to meet violence. You can't be polite and stuff like that. I'm not saying I'm a bully, but I'll be nice as I can. I choose path of least resistance first. I always do, but
yeah,
obviously, then if they come into back into corner, you've got to be ugly and nasty, and
yeah,
that's the way I think, and that's how I teach. Like we laugh. All guys I train with have all got a pretty sick sense of humour where I train as well. Like, because
yeah.
we're always hurting each other, not like intensely hurting each other, but we'll cross face each other, we'll neck crank each other, dig us elbows in them and stuff like that, nip. And you've got to, haven't you? It's like, if you're not cheating, you're not winning.
How did that pan out against when Josh Barnett came over then? 'Cause that
Oh,
was a big build up fight at the time because it was like the sort of I remember sort of from a standpoint of where I was, it was like you were like one of the top at the catch style around at that point for that you could see on online and tracking it, and then you had like the guy that had sort of what some people said sort of nicked it and took it to America and made it.
yeah, he's
Yeah,
a
that
good
sort of
guy,
thing.
isn't it? It's
Yeah, but
funny.
he's a good guy.
It's funny, really, because I always want like I've always liked Josh Barnett and stuff like that because obviously he's taught by Billy and things like that, and
Yeah,
he's an absolute beast. And I can remember when Andrea said he was coming over, and I said, "Oh, who do you think could wrestle him?" And I went, "I'll wrestle him." Like I wanted to wrestle him. Obviously, my game plan was just to like leave it to later round, like later on in fight, and try and get him down to the floor.
get him out of it. Yeah,
Because he's a big lump, isn't he? But I'm used to training with big lumps. I train with like at time I was training with like Neil Wayne. He's like I don't know what he weighs like, but he's 5'10" or 5'11". He probably likes to say 6 foot Neil, but he's about 5'11", and he's a good 18 stone and he's strong. I was training with Tengiz, Tedoradzes, who were a world champion at wrestling Greco. So I've always trained with big guys. So I find, as daft as it sounds, I find it easier to train with bigger guys because I make bigger mistakes. Whereas little guys who I train with, their mistakes are smaller and they're faster and they make you work because they're fit and fit. So I think I've got a mixed bag of guys I train with. I've got some really big guys who I use the strength for, like people like Josh. I'm not saying Josh ain't technical because he's super technical, and then I've got my little guys who make me work because they're fastest. They're really fast. They're like diarrhea in pumps. They're that fast. So I like training with those type of guys as well. I just think you've got to have different shapes and sizes to train with. Just a lot of people dodge rounds, don't they, as well? So when I've got a fight coming up, I'll train. Like if I'm going in heavyweight division, I'll go with all big guys and then have little guys last. So I'm burnt out from using strength against big guys. And then little guys are that rapid and fast, I'll go with them last.
Yeah.
So it's mixing up the energy system. So like you've gone from like burnt out and then you're trying to wrestle fast guys who are just like taking you down for fun and pinning you and stuff like that. So, but I've always found I do really well against big guys. Not only that as well, I always seem to rise to the occasion. Do you know, like when like I could fight someone who's probably not as good as me. And I don't tend to train as hard. I can't be asked. But then if I get someone like Josh, it made me go out and train a bit harder. Or, you know, like if I end up wrestling someone who's like a really high level, it makes me want to raise my bar a bit more and push myself a bit more. So, whereas if they're not as high a level, I won't push myself. I just think I can't be asked to train. So I'm a bit of a lazy twat when I think about it. Stuff like that.
That's good. You got to keep yourself motivated, don't you? That's it. It's
how
did you find it then? Because I remember watching it back when it came out. I think they put it on the YouTube, whatever, and it seemed very much the classic chess match of where you were just sort of both countering whatever each other was doing, and it looked like it looked like a very
people watching. It'll probably shit, you know, like.
I mean, you can tell
it looks shit. When I watch back, it looks shit, but it's what people don't understand is wrestling. 90% of it's hand fighting, isn't it? It's like it's very rare you'll get 3 minutes on someone's leg trying to do a takedown because it's hard, isn't it? You're trying to cancel each other out. It's like Roy always taught me, way to be a good wrestler is control hands, and it's always stuck with me that if you get hand position on someone, if you've got wrist control on a guy, and it's same in street or wrestling. If someone's got a knife, you're going to grab the hand that they're trying to attack you with.
Yeah.
If someone's going to punch you and you've got the hands, you can't punch you. Obviously, you can headbutt your knee and things like that. But as far as submissions go, they need the hands to take you down. They need the hands to like drop back for a leg lock. They need the hands to guillotine you. So I always think if you've got a good grip, you can beat anyone. So that's probably why I masturbate a lot. No, I'm kidding. But if you've got a good grip, you can beat anyone, can't you? So I always think I train my grip a lot. I use a lot of kettlebells and things like that, thick bar weights and chin ups and stuff like that, farmers carries, and I think that emulates like grappling. You know, like so if you've got like a good grip, they can't submit you, they can't take you down because you've got the wrist control, and that's probably with Josh. Probably why I did so well because I've got a decent grip, and when I did tie up with him, it was just hand fighting. It was boring to watch, but at the end of the day, he was a world champion, wasn't he? Just been in with Gordon Ryan. Yeah. Just been in with Gordon Ryan, and like people say, no, it's a boring match, but I'm just a kid from Kirby who trains in his shed. Me, I've never like really trained at a world class facility or all like that. I don't get me wrong, I've travelled about and go to places, but what I'm saying is, I just train with lads in South Kirby, like. I'm son of a coal miner. Do you know what I mean? I'm just that's all I've done. I've never really been lucky to like train abroad much and stuff like that. Although I have fought abroad and I've trained abroad, I've never like had like a big team behind me. It's like we've just always been figuring stuff out, like off VHS tapes and stuff like that, and CDs and stuff like that. So my journey's been very interesting. Do you know, like I've cocked up a lot in my matches, like we're probably early on in my MMA career, really, because like it was like. You were just learning things on fly, so it's been pretty good. And to be fair, I wouldn't change it because I think it's a better way of learning. You know, like making mistakes and stuff like that. So
No, 100%. Because there's so many people nowadays, and I mean, no fault to them, but with YouTube and everything else, I don't think people appreciate what it was like back in the early days when you were trying to get a DVD on import from somewhere, or trying to find tape trading and stuff like that, trying to get hold of a video. The original, even the UFCs, I can remember getting them on like dodgy tape trading from because it wasn't in this country then and stuff like that. And people, it's too easy to get anything nowadays.
yeah, that's it. You can go on YouTube now,
Yeah,
type in like it's brilliant for learning now. When you think about it, you can type in MMA seminar training with
yeah,
Theodore Emelianenko. Type it, and you can learn. You can learn all their best moves in like 10 minutes, 20
yeah,
minutes. Gordon Ryan. Whereas when I was learning, it were on a tape. I was rolling about in garden in dog shit with my brother, getting shit in my hair and stuff like that. And then when we did get mats, it were like old mats up at Sports Centre, and we're banging his elbows and stuff like that on
yeah,
mats. But it was fun. Do you know what I mean? It was like I won't
yeah,
change it. You know. Uh, I can remember the first time I wrestled in a cage. It was like one of the first cages in Yorkshire. It was like corrugated iron, Andy Cooper's. I can remember getting my toes stuck in cage and nearly ripping my toe off. But I won't change it. Do you know what I mean? Because it mentally makes you tough and strong. You get that grit, don't you? Do you know that like when
yeah.
someone's driving your head into cage and rubbing your head up and down against mats, you learn all little dirty tricks. So it was good for me. Do you know that type of training, and I wouldn't change it. And I'm glad. Like like people said to me, "Aren't you glad they didn't get UFC and stuff like that?" But I'm glad I didn't really because it wouldn't have made me into the coach that I am today. Do you know?
Yeah.
Uh, so I can guide other people. Do you know? Like I
That was
used to
going to
want
be
to get
my
UFC really bad, but
that was
like
going to
now
be
when I
my
look back
next
at it, I think I'm not
question.
bothered.
That's going to be my next question. Actually, when did the coaching start to come into it more? Then, like because you said like, suddenly people were contacting you, going, "Oh, can you teach me this? Can you teach me that?"
Well, it's funny because I've always like, even from like 16-year old, I was like teaching kickboxing with my brother in back garden. So we're always like showing kids it and stuff like that. And I worked in sports centres from being 16. So like I was always teaching boxer size at 16-year old. Like I'm 45 now. So I've been coaching some time. Uh, but like it's weird now because like with cats, like because of what I've done with cats, I get people from all over the world texting me, can they come over and train with me and this and that. And it's strange because I get people from all walks of life coming over and wanting to
Yeah,
train with me. So it's blown up in the last couple of years, you know, like with coaching. So
it must be. So what? So where do they? Is it just you? Is it people you know, or are you just getting random
just
emails going? Like,
from internet, like
yeah,
I've got people in Argentina, like my friend Babel. I like coach him online, and he sends me stuff, and we're like, was back. We've never met each other, but we're like sending each other videos, and he's like, oh, with Burrell, I'm like wanting him to like, he's like been doing competitions in catch, and all I've ever wanted to do with catch is help it like grow,
yeah,
because I don't want it to lose the art catch, you know, like revive it type of thing. So I thought if I can put my little bit into it, what I know, and I'll coach online, send it over to Babel, and he's doing competitions in Brazil, not Brazil, Argentina.
yeah,
He's even asked me to go over and things like that. So one day I probably will go over, but at the moment it's like hard, you know, like with life and stuff like that because I'm always
yeah.
busy. Uh, but yeah, so he's like growing it out there. And it's brilliant because I'm like thinking, like, he's mentioning my name out there. Obviously, in UK, I'm not really that well known. It's weird. It's like no one seems to know what catch wrestling is in UK. But then
It's
in America, that
it became a weird thing. So I remember years ago, like when I was doing actual like pro wrestling, when I had nice long hair and everything.
yeah,
It's a lifetime ago now, and when I was about half the weight I was. Like catch was something I was always interested in it, but back then it all stopped because I think they were just doing the freestyle at that point, and
yeah,
Wigan was like this mystical place that superheroes went 2 years ago, and it wasn't there anymore. Like the door had
yeah.
closed, sort of thing, and
It's
then
weird.
it was
Like,
yeah,
yeah, and that's all I wanted to do. Help it grow. Do you know, like that's all I've ever wanted to do is pass it on because I think it's one of them sports. It's like there's not many people know about it, and it's just nice to. It's like one of them things. It'll get lost otherwise. So that's why I like to show
yeah,
it on like social media and stuff like that. But to me, it's just the end of the day, it's all grappling to me. You know, it's all just grappling. Like
it's all just different branches of the same tree,
different
isn't it?
branches. You've got your sambo, you've got your judo, your jiu-jitsu.
Yeah.
Some people argue won't say it's jiu-jitsu. Some people, I just call it dirty grappling. You know, like it's just like dirt, isn't it? You know, like it's like,
Yeah.
I suppose catch, it's frowned upon in society in jiu-jitsu because like they just think you're a dirtbag. You know, like you'll cover someone's mouth and crank their neck and knee ride them or punch choke them and things like that. And you're looked upon as like a as like a dirtball in society, but I like it. I like being that person. You know, like because all I'll ever get people will say to me, they'll say like they'll come training with me, and I don't know if it's like I don't know if it's a compliment or a bad thing. People will say to me, "Oh, I roll rain other day. He's a dirty bastard," and I just think, well, I suppose I am, but it's realism, isn't it? It's like.
Well,
They'll
yeah.
say, "Oh, it tapped me with a neck crank. It's dirty. It's cheating." But to me, it's not cheating. It's like if you don't know technique to get out of it, or you don't know how to survive, you'd be dead in the street or in real life, wouldn't you? So I just think you've got to keep it
No,
alive
100%.
because it's realism. I just think, and I like being known as that dirty bastard. Still like it's good.
That's good.
Like years ago when I first started training, I was like, I suppose I like Gary Lineker, really nice and polite, and I am polite. I'm polite and things like that, but like if I get someone in a submission, I'll say all right then. If it's a yeah, and then I'll put it on. You know, like so it's like I'll warn them before it's fully on and things like that. But it was like Ian Bromley, what saying, he was such a nice person off mat, but you got on mat with him and he'd dig his elbow in your face and grind his bone across your teeth, and I just think it's great, isn't it? it's really, it makes you realise what you can do to someone in real life. So I like it, me. It's good. It's a good trade to have.
No, fair enough. So, is it just coaching for you now, or are you still competing as well?
No, I still compete. It's a weird one because I still compete. I wrestled in British I think it was August, and I won British. I would like to do Wills again, but I'm just trying to sort my weight out because I'm up and down with my weight. 1 minute I'm like 16 stone, and then next minute I'm like 90 kilograms. But I'm hoping to do a couple of grappling comps this year. I'd like to do Polaris again. I enjoyed that. That were a good experience for me as well with grappling. Only problem is with that, there's like it's the rule set. I'm like again, a lot of the judges are like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu coaches, and a lot of the stuff are on top of the guy all the way through, or neck cranking him, and I'm doing stuff probably what they've never seen before. So they just think I'm like just holding onto their head, but realistically, I'm like cradling him, and I don't think they understand that I'm going for submissions. And then they give it to the other guy, and I thought, we're on top all the way through, smash. Even some of my old jiu-jitsu coach came up to me and said, "You won that," and it's a bit disheartening at times, you know. Like, it's like probably because I am that dirtbag in society. They look at me and think, "Oh, he's like." I don't consider myself a jiu-jitsu guy, but I can do it. And I don't consider myself a freestyle wrestler. I'm like in between. So it's like, it's a weird one. It's a weird one for me.
So what have you got lined up next? Have you got anything coming up?
I think there's a grappling tournament in March. I think I'm going to enter that. I don't know what it is. It's a BJJ one, but I just enter stuff. But I've been concentrating on getting really fit at the moment. So I'm like, to be fair, I've gone more down like I've been doing a lot of Hyrox training and CrossFit stuff. So I've entered like an event called Dirty Dozen or Deadly Dozen, sorry. So I'm going to do that as well. So what I'm going to do while I'm supplementing that type of training, I may as well be competing as well 2 or 3 times a year. Because I like to compete 2, 3 times a year just so it keeps me sharp. You know, because I work on doors and that.
Definitely.
And, it's just good to practice on people, isn't it? Like in a stressful situation, a stressful environment. So I like putting this in out there and competing, even if it's just like 1 or 2 a year. Like last year, I think I only did 1 match, but I had 4 matches, so it was good getting 4 matches. So I like these like tournaments where you get a couple in. I also like these super fights that they do as well, so I like doing them as well.
Yeah.
So hopefully I'll get a couple of them in this year, just to keep me sharp and alert.
Excellent, excellent. And if anyone who's watching and listening to this wants to get hold of you or contact you for help, advice, and maybe some training, what's the best way that they could do that?
Instagram, I would say. Instagram.
Okay, I'll put a link in the notes for that, and so if anyone wants to contact you, they can do it on that. And yeah, no, thank you very much. I mean, is there anything else you want to get through or get
No,
across?
it's all right. It's all right. Just
Yeah, no, it's good chat. No, it's interesting to hear how it's all developed over the time, and the piece of the jigsaw puzzle getting put together.
yeah, that's all it is, really, isn't it? You know, like I'm just trying to help the sport grow. Do you know what I mean? I'm not like one of these. I'm not one of these who's like in a cult, because you get that cult with martial arts. You get a lot of cults, don't you? It's
Yeah,
like their way or their way. I'm just like very open minded, and I just want to watch the sport grow, and I want to help people like in combat sports as well, because it's with
hmm
combat sports. It's like years ago, I used to see stuff and I used to think, oh, you could do this and that. Like, but now like with catch, you learn stuff, and I think, why aren't people doing that in MMA?
yeah,
I think like, because there's some stuff in MMA, and I think you could end fights so quick now with catch, with MMA, and I think what it is, a lot. Maybe it's gym etiquette, isn't it? Gym etiquette.
yeah,
You go to a gym, and because they're not rough, they don't teach all dirty stuff. And I think you should be teaching all like simplistic stuff, like kneeling on back at calves when they're in a turtle position, or cranking neck. And fights would be finished so much quicker. So I just think, go back to old school dirty ways. that's where it is, isn't it? So yeah. But I think I could
ever
help a
thought,
lot of people out with MMA and stuff like that now with
ever
catch.
thought
So
of,
like,
ever thought of promoting your own tournament with your own rule set?
I've thought about doing grappling events and stuff like that, but it's just like, I've seen sides of it. I just think it's corrupt, isn't it? Everything's about money now. Everyone wants to make
Yeah,
money. That's it. It's like, I know I could probably do stuff online and make money, you know, but I can't be asked. I'm just like, I'm just very lazy, me. I like the path of least resistance. Like, you know, like everyone keeps saying to me, oh, why don't you bring like do like BJJ fanatics and stuff like that? And I just think I just like putting it online, and just like for all lads are trained to see. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
So, but that's it. But I just want catch to grow. But it's like everyone's wanting to make money out of it, aren't they? And to me,
Well, that's the
that's
thing. Now
like
it's become like the streamlined business now, and anyone who's a top name now seems to have their own clothing brand and their own DVD line.
which I get it. I get you. I've got to make a living out of it and stuff like that. And like I make a living out of coaching from home and stuff like that. But I think it's just a shame in some respects. Like you'll go to a jiu-jitsu gym and say, not like mentioning any names or like that, could be like a really prestigious name, say Gracie's or something like that. They charge an absolute fortune to have PTs or do seminars and stuff like that. And I get it, you've got to make money from it. I totally get that. And it's like a trade. But for the sport to grow, not everyone because I came from like a deprived area, me. Not everyone's got like £100 to throw out on a PT. Do you know,
Yeah, 100%.
like a lot of kids are from council estates, aren't they? Especially around here,
Yeah,
they're all from council estates, and we're all scruffy kids around here. You know, like
yeah,
so.
same. Yeah,
I was a scruffy kid growing up. I grew up in strike and things like that. So like, you've got better things to spend your money on, haven't you? So like, I like helping deprived people. You know, like
that's
obviously
good.
I've got to make money out of it, because it's at the end of the day, it's my body that's online. Like, so when I do PTs, I've got someone strangling me off, or suplexing me, or throwing me.
Yeah.
You only get one body, you're breaking your body down, aren't you? So,
Oh
in
yeah,
a
yeah,
sense, you know, like, it's like, you charge money for a PT, people say, oh, that's too much to charge, and this and that. But I think at the end of the day, you go to a gym, they're charging £30 for them to sit there on the phone counting reps with something that they've learned on YouTube. Whereas
yeah,
me, I'm getting punched in the head. I'm sparring 10 rounds boxing, getting hit in the head. So I'm losing parts of my brain. I'm getting neck cranked, so my neck's getting damaged. And then I've got to go to osteopath. I'm getting slammed, my body's getting beat up. So
yeah.
like,
Arm length and everything else. Yeah,
yeah, they don't seem to see that. They just think, right, can I practice this arm lock on you? And they're putting it on wrong, damaging you and stuff like that. And so I just think, yeah, you've got to make money from it, but at the same time, you want it to grow as well. So it's an hard one, isn't it?
100%. Yeah, because What I've said before is like how much is a driving lesson nowadays? You know, for an hour.
Yeah.
It's it.
Well,
You
how
know,
much for a bag of fish and chips? It's
shit,
like
yeah,
it's like this. How much do you value your life? This is why I see it. So like, look at it two ways. You could be going down the street. You could get like you could be on the street walking down the street. Someone could get an absolute kicking. Yeah, but there's potential that you could die. That's why I see it. Yeah. Whereas
yeah,
if you know a rear naked choke, you could probably end it in 30 seconds. It saves your life. So how much you value your life? That to me, fighting is the most important thing in your life. I think Enzo Gracie said it. He says, "Come into will fighting for your breath, and you go out of will fighting for your breath." And I just think a lot of people, they'll like, they won't think twice on buying a pair of trainers for £200. But yeah, it might help them run a bit faster if they're getting chased. But at the end of the day, you're going to get caught at bottom at road, aren't you? And then you're tired, so you may as well know how to fight. So way I see it, I'm not going to run off. I'm going to stay there and fight and get tired fighting them. You've got to understand some form of fighting. It's like my daughter. I'm teaching her Thai boxing
yeah,
and wrestling now, and like my son, my stepson, he's like I've taught him it from a young age. So at the end of the day, I think it's a valuable lesson to learn. Like learn how to throw a punch, learn how to strangle someone, learn how to slam them and knock them out on concrete because it could save your life. And then obviously all pros and cons come to it. Like you've got your fitness from it and stuff like that. It makes you mentally strong as well. So it makes
yeah.
everyday life easier, doesn't it? You know, like if you're wrestling with a 20-stone kid and he's laid on top of you and you can't breathe, it makes everything else in life easy. You know, like when you sat there at a desk doing a job and you've got some arithmetics to work out or some what they class as stressful. To me,
Yeah.
there's no more stressful than someone laid on your mount with a bollocks in your face and you're trying to get them off. It's like you've got to, you've got to learn. To me, that's the ultimate pressure,
Yeah,
isn't
you're
it? Like
right.
someone kneeling on your head with a pair of testicles in your face. That smell. It's not
Yeah,
good.
it's still nice.
So I think you've got to learn it. And it makes you mentally tough. And I just think there's no other way to learn than the hard way. So that's what I like about wrestling and martial arts. It's changed my life a lot. You know, it saved my life. But yeah, I think it's a must for everyone to do. I think like years ago, you went into schools, had boxing in schools,
Yeah.
like like they're just like society's soft, isn't it? Like they're all like snowflakes now, I think, and like chuffing hell, like like now you can't do out, you can't say out, you can't do out.
It's the liability thing now as well, isn't it? They don't want
Yeah,
anything where like someone gets hurt, you won't get sued or whatever else, and all that now as well. It's like the American
yeah,
lawyer thing has crept in over here. You know, just whatever you do now, you can get sued for it. It's just yeah, ridiculous. It's just, yeah. Nowadays, you can't even. Well, I
yeah.
am a school teacher by day, and the amount of things now that no, you can't do
I
that,
dread
can't
to
do
think
that,
what
can't do that. Yeah, it's
yeah, I dread
ridiculous.
to think what it's like being one. I couldn't be one. It's hard, isn't it? You're like it's. I'd hate
A lot
it
of
if the fact
patience.
that
A
it
lot of
makes me one.
patience.
I'd hate just because it kids the way they are, stuff they
Oh,
say
God,
to
yeah.
you. They know what they can say to you and everything, don't they? So
Oh yes.
yeah,
You
yeah,
learn a
it's a
lot of
bad thing.
patience. It's like Roadhouse. You got to
Yeah,
be nice
definitely.
till it's told not to be nice.
Yeah, yeah. Get them on a wrestling mat.
Yeah,
Get wrestlers into schools and learn them.
we tried it a little bit, but it was a bit too rough,
Yeah,
I
it'd be
think.
brilliant. It'd be brilliant. I went into school teaching Thai boxing. In fact, I'm starting doing it again.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I'm starting going to a school at Featherstone. I'm start teaching like Thai boxing in schools. So I think it's a good way, isn't it?
It's getting them to do something they're interested in rather than just. Well, nowadays it seems to be two ways. It's either they're out on a street corner or they're indoors shooting people on their computer games.
Yeah, it's like martial arts. Really, it's everything. In it? It's problem
Yeah,
solving. It's problem solving. I know it's like looking at a different way. People look at it as violence, but I look at it as like physical chess, as Billy used to call it, Billy
yeah.
Robinson. You're trying to figure out on fly while you're tired and stuff like that how to survive, how to put an hold on someone. There's no better problem solving than being put under stress. It's like people say they're stressed and stuff like that, they're anxious and stuff like that. Like we've just been on about. There's no only only like pressure you should feel really is physical pressure when someone's actually kneeling on you or like hitting you.
Yeah.
Like all rest of pressure's made up in your head and it's man made. So
Yeah.
I think like that, me, and I think it's a good way of just learning someone. I know that everyone's not hands on, but they should at least experience it once in their life. It's like I'm not very good academically, but what martial arts has taught me and things like that, like with my confidence and stuff like that. Because I was like quite a weedy kid growing up. I couldn't talk to people. I was shy and stuff like this. This is where I think I was autistic and stuff like that. Couldn't talk to adults. I like selective mutism and I won't talk to them and stuff like that. But when I look back now, I just think it's learnt me how to talk. It's like these situations, like some people are visual out there. You get your auditory
Yeah.
people, and then you get kinesthetically aware. Wrestling made me kinesthetically aware, and then obviously through talking to people, it's made me auditory because you've got a coach, you've got like I'm
Yeah.
coaching it, so it's made me auditory, so it's made me better at talking to people, and then like visually, it's made me think more visual and stuff like that, and so it does make you a better person in other aspects. You know, like I think it just think it's greatest thing alive for kids, me wrestling and well boxing, any martial arts really. I think it just makes them. It's like my daughter, she's struggling at school and stuff like that. She's just started Thai boxing now, and it's changed her. She's just totally changed her confidence. Schoolwork's got better, and it's just through like talking to adults and training and just
It gives you a
everything.
focus. I always think it gives them a focus as well, like because they
Yeah,
know, and then once you can focus on that, you've got that skill. You can then adapt to other things as well. Like transferable skills sort of thing. Yeah,
yeah. Well, I said it out, and I've just noticed a change in it. It's crazy. Her confidence has gone up. Like a little thing that she said to me over there. It was like, what was it? She said, I goes, do you like school then? She goes, I don't like drama. She says, why? I goes, it puts you on the spot. And I goes, what do you mean? Like, she goes, I don't like standing up in front of everyone. But then I watched her at Thai boxing. There were all parents there, kids there, and she was sparring with another kid. I goes, Quinn, I goes, you just said you don't like drama. I says, but you've got up in front of 30, 40 kids and just sparred with another kid, a boy. I says, that's harder than doing drama. All you've got to do is say a few words in drama. With that, you're getting punched in face or kicked in
yeah,
legs and things like that. I says, you put under pressure. I says, but you haven't realised you've achieved something there. And it was like one of the proudest moments. I know it doesn't seem like much. Watching her spar was one of my proudest moments, really, because I thought when she looks back in 10 years' time or 6 months' time, what she's done, she's got up, another kid's trying to hit her, and she's keeping calm under pressure and relaxing and performing. And I just think she'll take so much away from that when she looks back in a couple of years. To her, it probably wasn't a bad thing to do that, but
yeah,
to me, it's like it's a big step, isn't it? You know, it takes
yeah,
confidence to
definitely,
get up in
definitely.
front, especially hit another. Not they won't like hitting each other hard, but just to like hit another kid and take punches back and learn to be humble and take a beating, even take a beating. Like sometimes you take a beating, but it
Yeah,
humbles you
it's
and it
that
makes
it's
you
like that
realise that you're
first.
not best person out there or
It's
you
got
didn't
that
have best
first
day all
tournament.
the
It's got
time.
that first tournament thing in it. I mean, we've got a lot of kids and that with the jiu-jitsu and the wrestling at our club, and it's that first tournament, and then they don't want to do it, and then they do, then they don't. But once they've done it, they're like, "Yeah, it was amazing," whether they
It's
won or not.
addictive.
But they once they get there,
Yeah.
that confidence of doing it, yeah, yeah, it's really good.
Even if you cock up and you're like, don't do it again, it's a good experience to have
Yeah,
because you've cocked up and you learn from it. It's like, the thing is with me, I've always cocked, I've learned hard way. I've always been lasted or something. I've like even with like fighting and stuff like that. But I wouldn't change any of my losses because I've learned from it, and it just
yeah,
I've like cocked up loads, but that's what the thing with success. People don't see success. People see me like, oh, he's a catch wrestling world champion, or BJJ black belt, or he's a Thai boxing champion, and things like that. They don't see how many times I've failed, how many times I've like damaged, like got injured, or pulled out of fights, or been hurt, and things like that. They
yeah,
don't see that. That you know, like it's the commitment to get up every day, to want to go out for a run, to lift weights, to exercise. That's what it's installed in me.
yeah.
Dedication and commitment.
And
That's
that's
what
the
they don't
one
see.
bit.
It just makes you and like I say, I'm one of them people. Me, if I put my mind to anything, really, I'm not saying I'm great at maths or all that, but if I wanted to be a mathematician, if I put the time what I put into martial arts into maths, I'd be a genius. But they don't see that. They just see you as a thug who's punching people and slamming people. But what they don't realise is you probably put more time into martial arts, like, and jiu-jitsu and stuff like that, than you have in any university
Oh,
degree and stuff like that, haven't
definitely. Because I mean, the amount of people sometimes now, especially nowadays, like they'll see some cool move in a 3 minute YouTube clip, and then everyone's trying to do it. But what they don't realize is like the 20 years that guy put in before that to get to doing that move. You know, no one, it's like,
they?
well, that particular fight, or whatever. There's a lot of time that went in before that, not just the 3 minutes you see in YouTube or
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
It's like with jiu-jitsu, isn't it? They're like, it takes years to get to a black belt, and like they call them professors, and people say, well, why do you call it professors and stuff like that? I think, well, they've earned it, really. They've got cauliflower ears, cauliflower asses, the fingers are bent, the
Mm.
shoulders are bent, they're probably dropping to bits, the knees are bad, and I just think they've earned it the hard way, you know, like,
Yeah.
and I respect that in jiu-jitsu, you know, because like they don't give belts away in jiu-jitsu, do they, or
No.
judo or stuff like that. You've had to earn it. And there's no hiding. You can't hide behind a book and say, well, I'm book smart and this and that. It's like you've had to earn it. You've earned it physically
Yeah.
and mentally.
Mat time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
And
definitely.
that's why I think kids should learn it. Well, adults, I think everyone should learn it. I just
No,
think it's
definitely.
a
It's a
great
big thing at
sport
the
to have.
moment. I was reading something the other day with I'll probably say his name wrong. Is it Tom de Blasi or Tom de Blas or whatever it is? But he's trying to get
Yeah.
it when like police in America to actually learn it and stuff like that because a lot of like the forces and that they've got no clue and there's all sorts of videos of trying to hold someone down and then running away and things like
Yeah,
that.
it's shite. Do you know something? It's shite. The shite. So don't get me wrong. There's some good and bad in police, and
Yeah,
there's a lot of good and bad in police. Like a few of I've trained a few police and stuff like that, and there's some good people, but then some of them are just clueless. Like just being able to talk to someone. Like I'm not. I keep going on about university students and stuff like that. There's some people that just like can't talk to people. You know, like they
yeah,
haven't got communication skills. Like I'm not the brightest, but I know how to talk to someone. You know, like just like I got pulled by police 3 times last year.
yeah,
Same place, same time, same coppers. Like 8 police came and got me, and I was just like thinking, they knew the basically they pulled over. They says, "Oh, can smell cannabis." I've never smoked cannabis in my life. Uh, it was someone walking by. Then they says, "Oh, we're going to test you for cocaine." I went, "Okay, then." One of the coppers knew me, knew I was an athlete, knew I didn't take it, and he was like
yeah.
smirking as if to say, "Come on." They kept me there for an hour, and they were talking to me like shit, and I just thought, none of you knows how to talk to me. I felt like I could have beat all 8. I wouldn't have done it. Like I felt like I
Yeah,
could have beat all 8 coppers up and thrown them in back at van. But I was polite with him and I was humble with him. I know that they're doing a job, but I just thought, come on, you know, like you pulled me 3 times over a matter of months in the same place, and I thought if it did kick off, you wouldn't know what to do. It's like they were like young kids, and I just thought even just learn skills how to defuse a situation or how
yeah.
to talk to someone. But they were like talking to me like shit. But because I'm an humble guy and I won't like, I just thought at the end of the day he's doing his job. He's probably had some like dickheads talking to him early on in night, so I took it into consideration. But I just thought, wow, they just don't know how to talk to people. They're just
That's it.
fresh out
Just
of
talk.
university and trying to bully you. And I'm just like thinking, Jesus, mate.
Yeah, even just talking it down to avoid the situation rather than just
Yeah.
antagonise and
I
wind it
know
up.
you can't. Thing is, as well, I know you can't win with police. That's another thing. You can talk to them like shit. They're just going to make your life harder. So, like, they're going to put you in a set. Do you know, like, so it's not worth arguing with them. So, like I say, I always choose that path of least resistance. I'll do it with wrestling. When I wrestle someone, I don't wrestle them with strength. I try and choose a path of least resistance. When they shoot in at me, I'll use it against them. And
Yeah,
like when they arm drag me, I'll go here. And it's the same. I use the same principle in boxing, Thai boxing, and in life. That path of least resistance, it makes it easier to go with flow, don't you? Flow
no,
with the
definitely.
goes. So
No,
it's same with
that's
talking to
brilliant.
people.
What about then for the future? You talked about the competitions you got lined up. Have you got any more sort of goals or targets for yourself over the
Yeah,
next few
I've got
years that
loads,
you want
mate.
to achieve? Oh,
Loads. There's loads I want to do. Obviously I want to keep competing into my 50s, but hard thing is getting matches. You know, like I struggle again. I do like these super fights and that, but it's getting them. Like I think because of my age as well, I'm 45, which I wrestle younger people anyway. It doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
I wrestle, like, to me, age is, it's not even a number to me, it's an energy. I'm fitter than most 18-year-olds, like,
Yeah.
like, it's a weird one for me because, like, with fitness and stuff like that, like, you get that, I was like on about it over there actually to someone. Like, you could have an 18-year-old whose VO2 max is better than yours and be super fitter than you. But it's like rabbit and hare, isn't it? You learn all these little tricks over years, how to be economical wrestle, and you learn how to control your breathing. And not necessarily that, they might be fitter than you or what. Sometimes just because they're fitter than you, their anxiety levels are higher, so their VO2 max don't matter. So I just think headstrong and stuff like that. And this is the thing, it's like I feel at this moment in time, I'm 40, well, I'm 45. I feel at my strongest and fittest now. It's weird, like I'm like probably lifting more than I ever have in gym. I'm training harder than I ever have in gym. And probably because I'm really lucky as well, because I work in council gyms and I'm around training all the time. That's probably why I'm fit and strong. Whereas most 26-year-olds have retired on settee at 26-year-old. Whereas I'm training, out working people and stuff like that. And I suppose I'm lucky in my job. I've made my job work for me rather than working for my job, if that makes sense. So I'm lucky in that sense. But yeah, I just think fitness is key. And I don't really believe, like people say, well, you're 45-year-old now. And I think, well, get on that with me, I'll outwork you. So I just think I've got this mental side to me, whereas I don't know if it's a stupidity thing. What I seem to perform really good still, so, and I still feel at my fittest now. So maybe because I look after myself a bit better. I still eat shite and that, but I'm like always sauning, ice bathing, exercising, stretching, foam rolling. So like I look after my body a bit better as well. So probably that.
So in any other,
I will compete at other sports. Well, I'm going to compete at other sports and like I think I'm going to do an half marathon this year as well. Even though I ain't running, I'm just trying to give myself little goals just to keep going, ticking over. Like I'm doing like that.
Keep
CrossFit
pushing
thing.
yourself and testing yourself. Yeah, no,
yeah, that's it. I put myself outside box, but I do believe energy is a big thing. It's like you look at Bernard Hopkins and Randy Couture. They were still at the peak in the 40s, like, so I just think age is a number. It's when you stop in it and try and get back into it. I think that's the point.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's that.
Oh, that's brilliant, man. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us today. That was the Grappling Ride Podcast, Episode 8 with Ian Mongoose Jones. As always, you can catch up on whatever we're up to on the grappleofyoureye.com. We are also on all social medias from Instagram, Facebook and YouTube. Please give us a rate and review on any of your chosen podcast apps. And again, you can always follow and like us on YouTube as well. We'll be back next week with another guest. Until then, I will see you on the mats.